Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to the GM. I'm your guy, Leon Boulanger. And up next, we're going to get into uh, the continued breakdown of the Baltimore Ravens 2023 depth chart, position by position. And the position we're going to deal with next is the outside linebackers, or what we know to be the edge rushing position. Baltimore has been looking for a consistent edge rusher probably for 5 or 6 years, really. Really kind of after Terrell Suggs left and ended up in Kansas City, excuse me. Um, Baltimore has been trying to fill that role. They had Zadarius Smith for a while and tried to bring him back this year, but Minnesota paid him more money. And so he backed out of the initial deal with Baltimore, so couldn't get that. We had Matthew Judon at one point. He became a free agent, signed with the Patriots, and he has looked better and better, even after leaving the Baltimore Ravens. So now we had more and more questions at that position. Um, we've drafted a few guys that they didn't work out, and so here we are with the 2022-2023 roster that we're going to break down. And so, with no further ado, let me share my screen with you guys and we'll jump right into it. Give me one sec, get this pulled up. All right. And then let me jump over here to Chrome right there. All right, edge rush. Okay, we're gonna break these down two by two. First up on our list is gonna be Odafe Owe and Tyrus Bowser, excuse me. Um, let's deal with Odafe. Odafe is a big 6'4", 6'5", pass rusher, quick, young, athletic, and has a lot of speed. I think he ran a 4.34 at the combine, somewhere up under that. I know it was sub 4.4, which means he has elite speed at that position. But for some reason, it does not translate to the playing field. Um, I know a lot this year we saw or believed that we saw Odafe get held a lot by offensive linemen and it wasn't called. He doesn't seem to have the get off, right? He has speed, but he doesn't seem to get off the ball quick enough to beat the offensive tackle. So I'm not sure if there's another position he needs to play or if he just needs to be developed in this off season and into the regular season. But he is a first round pick from the 2021 draft, who has shown some promise, but at the same time has not brought his skill set and talent full circle in order to be a consistent pass rusher. So it's a huge question mark. He will certainly be on the 2023 roster for sure, but what his impact will be is a huge question mark. So roster spot for sure, impact question mark. Not sure what's going on with the picture over here for Tyus Bowser, but we know that he is a guy who has shown some pass rush ability. We know that he tore his ACL, I believe it was last year. And so it took some time for him to get back. He showed some flashes during this year, but no real impact that we saw. Um, so a couple of times he had some real nice get off on certain plays, but no real impact. So he definitely will be on the roster. He only has like a $5 million cap hit, maybe a little more than 5 million. But I think for the only veteran that's going to be left on this roster, I think he's a good leader. Has been real good against the Pats coverage and has shown some pass rush ability, but don't know what his impact will be. So again, we have another question mark. Definitely a be on the roster, but a question mark for Ty Spouser. And I know I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, so you guys forgive me for that. When we get down here, our next two, we have Jason Pierre-Paul or JPP. And we also have to the left, Justin Houston. Both of these guys are free agents. They're veterans. They showed flashes all year long. I think Justin Houston even ended up with 9+ sacks. Thought he would make a Pro Bowl, but he kind of tailed off. Had some injuries this year. And I know that Justin Houston, I'm speaking of, I know he considered retiring at the end of the 2022 season. Nope, excuse me, 2021 season. And that may still be on the table for this year. So huge question mark for Justin Houston. He's older, maybe considered retirement, and he's also a free agent. JPP is a free agent, and not real sure what his role is going to look like for the Baltimore Ravens, or if he's even in their plans. But right now, he does not have a contract. So huge question there as well. So we have two veterans who still got some games left, but not sure what their status will be coming into the 2023 season. So another huge question mark. So out of our first four, uh, I do believe that the first two, Odafe and Tyus, will be on the roster, but don't know their impact. And then these two veterans, huge question marks because they're both free agents and they're both older. So they both may be even considered retirement. Let's look at these next two. Excuse me. These next two, we have David Ajabo and also on the right side, Jeremiah Moon. Now I know Jeremiah Moon is a practice squad guy. I think he got a few call-ups this year, minimum impact um, on the Baltimore Ravens team this year. So not sure where he'll be, but I know Ravens are always looking for pass rush options. And so if nothing more, he'll be on the practice squad in the 2023 season. Unless he turns the corner and shows some flashes in training camp and then also in the preseason. Then we got David Ajabo, the Baltimore Ravens, much scrutinized, I may add, meaning David Ajabo wasn't scrutinized. His talent is undeniable, but the Baltimore Ravens were scrutinized for picking him in the second round over um, a wide receiver. Picking a guy who had tore his ACL, was for certain not going to be available at the beginning of the year, much less most of the year, but they picked him anyway. And I know they picked him on potential and to have him in-house going into the 2023 season, a guy who was a proven pass rusher at the University of Michigan, and they're hoping to get that same production out of him. We saw one play where he flashed, where it was a strip sack fumble on who was that? Um, Joe Burrow. But he didn't make a whole lot of impact, but we did see a flash, which kind of speaks to his potential. If he comes in a season healthy, I think he may be the number one pass rusher for the Baltimore Ravens going into the 2023 season, especially with some unproven guys such as Odafe going into his third year, and also the two veterans, JPP and Justin Houston, being free agents and may be considering retirement. As we scroll down, we're going to look at two more. So we're going to look at Dalen Hayes, who was a guy who was a draft pick from the 2021 draft, I believe it was, but ended up on IR last year, and he ended up on IR this year. When we saw Dalen Hayes in an actual game, he did show some ability. I mean, he really did, but I'm not sure if he's not training well. Not sure if he's not eating well as far as his nutrition, or if he just has an injury issue. But we have not been able to see Dalen Hayes on the field, so there's a huge question mark. I believe that he will have an opportunity to get onto the roster since he was a draft pick, and the Ravens don't like wasting draft picks. But I'm not sure if he will make any impact, especially as a new draft class comes into play in the 2023 season. But with Dalen Hayes, huge question mark. Then we have Stephen Means, a guy who I think did make the roster after being called up, but I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL and was lost for the season, even before his season really got started. Huge question mark for Steven Means. I really believe because the Ravens need help, they'll give him an opportunity to try out and make an impact, but not sure if he'll make the roster. So between these two, Dalen Hayes has the greater chance, I believe, because he was a Ravens draft pick, but both of these guys could be somewhere else, if not watching football in the 2023 season. As we scroll down, the last guy that we're going to discuss for the edge rushers is another guy who made a lot of noise in training camp and or even in the preseason. Um, Vince Beasley. Uh, and I may be pronouncing his name wrong. Uh, or maybe it's Beagle, excuse me. Vince Beagle, excuse me. I said that all wrong, but another guy who showed some flashes, showed some promise. Baltimore was certainly going to use him. But again, another guy who went down with injury to his leg and was lost for the season. So here we have another guy who had some promise, showed some flashes, but ended up on IR just as several other players did. So when we look at the total, let me go back to the regular screen if you guys don't mind. So when we consider the total rotation, we see that there's not a lot of guys available on the current roster as far as depth. Odafe, David Ajabo, Tyus Bowser, um, and that may be it, unless I'm missing somebody, but that certainly may be it. So looks like the Ravens are gonna need some help at that position as well. So we got a huge question mark with the pass rush, just as we've had come into every offseason, every training camp, and every new season. Question mark is who's gonna step up uh at that pass rush position. So that's the edge rush position. Up next are linebackers, specifically inside linebackers. So if you like this kind of content, man, let me know what you need me to know. Like and subscribe on your way out. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the GM. I'm your guy, Liam Boulanger, and I'm out.